The year is 2024. The world watches with bated breath. Tensions between the United States and Russia are at an all-time high. Old wounds fester, new threats emerge. The threat of nuclear war, once a distant nightmare, now feels terrifyingly real. The global order, built on a fragile peace, teeters on the brink. Mistrust runs deep, accusations fly. The line between peace and conflict blurs. The world holds its breath, hoping for diplomacy, fearing the worst. The stakes have never been higher. The consequences of failure unimaginable. Will reason prevail? Or will the world succumb to the siren song of conflict, a path leading only to destruction and despair? From the Baltics to the Black Sea, potential flashpoints simmer. Ukraine remains a volatile powder keg. Military buildups and provocative exercises escalate tensions. Cyber incursions and disinformation campaigns sow distrust and fear. Syria, a land ravaged by civil war, becomes a dangerous chessboard. Proxy conflicts threaten to draw major powers into direct confrontation. The Arctic, once a symbol of international cooperation, becomes a new arena for military posturing. Each flashpoint represents a tripwire, a potential catalyst for a conflict that could spiral out of control. Miscalculation or misjudgment could have catastrophic consequences, igniting a firestorm that engulfs the entire world. In the 21st century, the battleground has evolved. Cyber warfare emerges as the new frontline, a shadowy realm of espionage, sabotage, and disruption. State-sponsored hackers wage silent wars, targeting critical infrastructure and sowing chaos. Power grids flicker and die. Financial systems grind to a halt. Communication networks collapse. The fabric of modern society, so reliant on interconnected systems, becomes its Achilles heel. The line between peace and war blurs, attacks below the threshold of traditional conflict becoming the new normal. The anonymity of cyber warfare makes attribution difficult, increasing the risk of escalation. A single misidentified attack could have devastating consequences, triggering a chain reaction that plunges the world into chaos. In an age of information overload, truth becomes a precious commodity, vulnerable to manipulation and distortion. Disinformation campaigns, fueled by social media algorithms and state-sponsored propaganda, poison the well of public discourse. Fake news spreads like wildfire, manipulating perceptions and exacerbating existing divisions. Trust erodes, societies become polarized. The very foundations of democracy, built on informed citizenry, crumble under the weight of lies. The weaponization of information creates a climate of fear and suspicion. Distinguishing truth from falsehood becomes increasingly difficult. In this environment of manufactured reality, the path to conflict becomes paved with half-truths, outright lies, and carefully curated narratives designed to mislead and inflame. Economic fallout, a global recession. The drums of war beat to the rhythm of economic collapse. Sanctions imposed as a deterrent inflict pain on all sides. Global trade networks, the arteries of the modern economy, seize up. Uncertainty reigns as markets crash. The cost of living explodes as inflation skyrockets. Supply chains buckle. Essential goods become scarce. The global economy, already fragile, teeters on the brink of collapse, plunging the world into a recession deeper than any in living memory. The economic fallout of conflict knows no borders. The interconnectedness of the global economy means that no nation is immune from the consequences. The human cost, measured in lost jobs, shattered dreams, and widespread poverty, becomes an unbearable burden. The human cost, suffering and displacement. War's true cost cannot be measured in dollars or rubles. It is etched on the faces of mothers weeping over lost sons, children scarred by violence, families torn apart by displacement. The human toll of conflict is immeasurable, a tapestry woven from suffering, loss, and despair. Millions flee their homes, seeking refuge from the storm of violence. Once thriving cities lie in ruins, monuments to humanity's capacity for destruction. The lucky ones escape with their lives, forever haunted by the horrors they have witnessed. The physical wounds of war may heal, but the psychological scars run deep. Post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, and anxiety become the invisible epidemic, a constant reminder of the horrors endured. The human cost of conflict reverberates for generations, a dark legacy passed down from one generation to the next. The road to war, a miscalculated move. A high-stakes military exercise in the Black Sea. A NATO patrol strays too close to Russian airspace. A cyber attack, misidentified and attributed to the wrong actor. In the tinderbox of geopolitical tensions, even a small spark can ignite a global conflagration. Miscalculation, fueled by mistrust and driven by hawkish rhetoric, paves the road to war. Diplomatic channels, once robust, atrophy from neglect. Lines of communication, vital for de-escalation, go silent. The unthinkable becomes reality. Orders are given, missiles are launched. The world watches in horror as humanity steps onto the precipice, staring into the abyss of a nuclear nightmare. Inside the maelstrom, a world at war. The initial exchange is swift and devastating. Cities vanish in mushroom clouds. Millions perish in an instant. The living envy the dead. But this is only the beginning. The world descends into a maelstrom of fire and fury. Conventional battles rage across continents. Cyber attacks cripple critical infrastructure. Propaganda floods the airwaves, fueling fear and hatred. The delicate fabric of civilization, painstakingly woven over centuries, unravels at an alarming speed. Nuclear winter casts a long shadow over the planet. The sun disappears behind a shroud of radioactive dust. Temperatures plummet, crops fail. Famine and disease stalk the land. The few survivors envy the dead. Picking up the pieces, a long road to recovery. The guns finally fall silent. The bombs cease to fall. An eerie silence descends upon a world in ruins. The survivors emerge from the ashes, blinking in the harsh light of a new reality. The task ahead is daunting, rebuilding a world shattered by conflict. The physical scars of war are everywhere. Bombed-out cities, poisoned landscapes, millions suffering from radiation sickness. But the psychological wounds run deeper. Trauma, grief, the loss of hope. Rebuilding trust will be the hardest battle of all. Generations will bear the burden of this conflict. The world they inherit is a shadow of what it once was. But, amidst the ruins, the resilient spirit of humanity endures. Slowly, painfully, life begins anew. The hope for peace. Diplomacy as the only solution. Even in the darkest of times, hope flickers. The human spirit, though battered, is not broken. The yearning for peace, for a world free from the scourge of war, remains a powerful force. Diplomacy, often dismissed as weak or ineffective, emerges as the only path forward. Dialogue replaces diatribes. Empathy trumps ideology. Leaders, recognizing the futility of conflict, return to the negotiating table. Small steps lead to larger ones. Trust, slowly and painstakingly, is rebuilt. The road to peace is long and arduous. It requires patience, compromise, and a willingness to see the humanity in those we perceive as enemies. But the alternative, a world consumed by conflict, is too horrific to contemplate. A call to action, choosing peace over conflict. We stand at a crossroads. The path to war is well trodden, paved with the mistakes of the past. The path to peace is less traveled, requiring courage, vision, and an unwavering belief in our shared humanity. The choice is ours. We can choose to cling to old hatreds, to perpetuate the cycle of violence that has plagued our species for centuries. Or we can choose a different future, one where diplomacy triumphs over aggression, where cooperation replaces competition, and where peace becomes the legacy we leave for generations to come. The time for action is now. Let us raise our voices in unison, demanding a world where reason prevails, where diplomacy reigns supreme, and where the drums of war are silenced forever by the chorus of peace. The future of humanity depends on it.